Hello, and welcome to Zenith's Video Guide. I think you're going to enjoy our program. It's designed to give you quickly and simply all the information you'll need to help you get the maximum pleasure from your new VCR. To start, note the color-coded chapters on the back of the cassette sleeve. Each chapter has its own color, and that same color also appears as a color bar across the bottom of your screen to help you quickly find a specific chapter for later review. As you start viewing each chapter, the color bar will slowly disappear until at the end of that chapter it's entirely gone. How much of the color bar shows will tell you where you are within a chapter. Now, this video program will show you how to operate your VCR, but it isn't meant to replace this printed operating guide. So we recommend that you take the time to read it. You'll find additional information in the printed guide that's not included in this video program. One other quick point. This video guide is meant to be used with several VCR models. While functions among the various models are virtually identical, where there are differences, we'll indicate them. Well, that's it for the preliminaries. Let's get started. Before we get started, notice the clock. It's flashing because the time needs to be set. We'll do that a little later, but for now, let's at least stop it from flashing. Move this switch to the center or clock adjust position momentarily, and then move it back to the clock position. Your new Zenith VCR has an automatic power-on system. Simply loading the cassette automatically turns on the deck. Now, I'll just turn it off for a minute and show you a helpful feature. If you want to get the cassette out quickly, you don't have to power up the deck. Simply press the eject button, and just like that, out comes the cassette. Your VCR's primary controls are located here on this front panel. Behind this panel door, we have the secondary control group. We'll take a detailed look at these shortly, but for now, the knob should be centered and all switches should be set to the left. On the back are the antenna connections, the channel output selector switch, and the audio and video input-output jacks. Well, so far so good. Now let's find out more about cassette playback. For cassette playback, you can operate your VCR in several ways. Manually with the controls on the front of the machine, or at a distance with this convenient full-function remote control. If you use the remote, be sure this switch is in the VCR position. In the TV position, this remote will operate many remote-controllable Zenith TVs. Your Zenith VCR also has a nifty feature called autoplay to let you play back a cassette automatically. Here's how it works. A special circuit inside the cassette deck can sense the presence or absence of this cassette safety tab. Removing the tab prevents accidental re-recording of pre-recorded tapes. Anyway, if you insert a cassette that doesn't have the safety tab, the deck will automatically go into the play mode and start playing the cassette. Okay, to view a cassette, turn on your TV set and tune it to channel 3 or 4, whichever is the unused broadcast channel in your area. In this case, channel 3. Then, on the back of your VCR, set the RF output switch to match the TV channel you've selected. Once you've set this switch, you never have to set it again. And from now on, this switch position will determine which channel, 3 or 4, you tune your TV to when using the VCR. Now, why don't you sit back, relax, and use the remote control? And if you do, be sure the VCR TV switch is in the VCR position. The tape TV button on the remote has the same function as this tape TV button on the VCR. When the light is on, that means you can view a picture from a cassette or from broadcast TV using the VCR's tuner. When it's off, that means you must use your TV's tuner to select channels and to view a picture independent of the VCR. If you don't get a picture and your TV screen looks like this, just press the Tape TV button once, and you should get a picture immediately. The remote control can perform virtually any function on the VCR. It'll do all the playback operations, including speed search forward, speed search reverse, and stop. You can also use the remote control to freeze picture action. Simply press pause. By holding the pause button down, you can advance the picture continuously. To resume regular playback, press play. Normal picture and sound will return. Still picture and picture advance can also be controlled on the cassette deck by pressing the pause button. By the way, if this program seems to be going by too fast, press the pause button and rewind the tape a little, and then view the tape again. And then view the tape again. Speaking of rewind and play, your new VCR has a feature called Play Memory for repeat viewing of programs. Just press the rewind and then the play button almost simultaneously. The flashing play indicator means the cassette will rewind to the beginning, stop, and begin playing back automatically. If during playback your picture looks distorted, or if the audio sounds strange or is missing, turn the tracking control to clear it up. Here's a feature you may find useful. During tape playback, you can automatically search for and find a specific point on the tape. Here's how. When you see a point that you want to return to later, press pause. Press clock lap counter once to display the tape counter number. And then press reset. The counter will return to 0. Press play. Continue playing the tape just as you would ordinarily. Later, when you want to return to the previous point, set this switch to on. Press stop, then press rewind. The tape will rewind to 0, the point where you press the reset button. Now you're ready for tape playback. Pressing clock lap counter twice restores the clock display. Well, that about wraps up this chapter. Coming up next, important information about your TV picture. For full enjoyment of your VCR, you obviously need a picture. So, in this chapter, we're going to take a brief look at where your TV signal comes from. All of us are accustomed to changing channels on the TV and seeing the channel we selected come up on the screen. That's because your TV has a tuner built in, and it's this tuner that makes it possible for us to receive a TV signal from any available channel in our area. Now, to understand how this works, think of the TV signal as water flowing through a garden hose. The signal flows in here from the antenna and into the back of the TV. Then it flows out again as a picture. Your VCR also has a tuner built in, so in a way it's like a TV set, only without the screen. And like the water in your garden hose, the signal flows in here into the back of the VCR, then the signal flows out again directly into the TV. Since the VCR's tuner works independent of the tuner in the TV, you can change from the VCR's tuner to the TV's tuner or back again anytime you want. Having two independent tuners is why it's possible to record a program on one channel while watching a second program on a different channel. Your VCR can also receive signals directly from a cable TV system or from a special cable TV signal box like this. Now, One of the things all this means is, since the VCR's tuner works independent of the TV set, we don't have to have the TV turned on to record a program. That's one of the great features of having a VCR. Now that we know a little bit about where signals can come from, let's go on to the next chapter and find out how to get the ones you want into your VCR. Well, as you can see from the last chapter, with all the TV signal possibilities to choose from, the way you hook everything up is very important. No matter where your signal comes from, sooner or later it has to go into the back of the VCR. If the end of your antenna cable is like this, screw it into this antenna input jack. Your VCR can now receive everything your TV set's been receiving. On the other hand, the end of your antenna cable may look like this. In that case, you'll need to use the antenna mixer, which was packed in with your VCR. Attach the twin UHF-VHF antenna leads to it, like this. And then slip it on to the antenna in jack. The next step is to send signals from your VCR to your TV set. Attach this coaxial cable, which came with your VCR, to your VCR's antenna output jack, and the other end to the TV's antenna input jack. Your VCR is now hooked up to your TV. Some TV sets have antenna terminals similar to this. If yours does, use the signal splitter that came with your VCR to attach the cable coming from the VCR to the TV, like this. Both your TV set and your VCR should now be able to receive normal broadcast TV signals. If your TV signal comes from a cable TV system, you most likely have a cable that looks like this. If so, simply screw it into this input jack. Your VCR's tuner is cable compatible, so you should now be able to tune all your previously available cable channels. However, many cable TV systems use a special cable box to protect their signals. This complicates the hookup situation a little, but there are several options that you can select to suit your particular recording needs. Here's one example of how to hook up a cable box to your VCR. The cable signal coming into your home is first fed into the input of the cable box, and then fed out the output of the cable box and into the antenna input jack on the VCR. Then, the VCR output signal is fed to your TV. The advantage of this hookup option is you can record all available cable TV channels because you're using the cable box for tuning. The disadvantage is you can't use your VCR's tuner to make channel selections, since all cable boxes allow only one TV channel at a time into your VCR. If your cable system protects only certain channels by scrambling the signal, there is another way to hook up your cable box. First, connect the cable TV system's antenna cable to the antenna in jack of your VCR. Next, connect one end of a coaxial cable to the antenna out jack of the VCR, and connect the other end to the antenna in jack on the cable box. Then, connect the antenna out jack of the cable box to the antenna input on the TV. The advantage of this hookup option is you get to make most channel selections using the VCR's tuner. The disadvantage is you can view premium or so-called scrambled channels, but you can't record them since unscrambling occurs after the signal has already passed through the VCR. What all this means is when using your VCR with a cable box, you may have to choose between the cable TV company's tuner or the tuner in the VCR. Well, you can relax now. Hooking up your VCR is probably the hardest thing for most people to deal with, and you just went through it. So, let's go on to Chapter 6.